Thank you very much for talking with me.
Sure.
You are part of the architecture of this DFC, and 5 years later on, we're celebrating the 5 years anniversary. Talk to me about what it feels like for you to see this come to fruition.
Sure.
And the impact that is having.
I think the biggest thing is just seeing it come to fruition and going to work, making an impact in those countries. As you heard David, I think his name was Singa from Sierra Leone, talking about the amount of energy. They doubled their energy. And you got to have that critical, reliable baseline energy to create an economic base. If you don't have that, you can't develop an economy. And that's what we wanted to do when we started the idea of the DFC. We wanted to be able to invest in a country in the major infrastructure that's going to invite private capital to come in and make an economic base for that country's benefit. And then we benefit, because we have better trading partners, we have more of those that are more productive. And then the other thing is we help them transition from a recipient country of aid to development, and then they become a donor country.
Okay, the DFC is hub for renewal.
Yeah.
And how do you see this going? What is needed, and what will you like the next 10 years or 15 years to be?
I think the biggest thing is just to get it done as quick as we can. President Trump passed this in his first term. And there's some fixes that have already been out of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. And if the Senate can get theirs out, if they were to pass this during the lame duck session, President Trump and his new administration can hit the ground running in the development world instead of having to go and renegotiate what has already been done bipartisanly and bicamerally. And so he could move the ball forward. The one thing that wasn't fixed in there is the equity scoring fix, but you heard everybody in that room saying that needs to be fixed, and I truly believe it will be.
What about making this permanent? We have seen different programs,
Sure.
but every year with every different administration, we have a GOA that is coming up, we have some other program that is coming up. What about making this permanent as trading with not just Africa, with the global south, with developing economic? How much impact will this have if it's made permanent?
I think it would create a lot of certainty to the DFC, and you can make it permanent funding as they did with OPIC,
Yeah.
because they were able to retain some of the monies that came in that went to the U.S. Treasury that went back into their coffers to keep it running, so it didn't have to go through that reauthorization. Ideally, that's what we would like to see with the DFC, and then have the congressional oversight on that to make sure everything is being done according to plan.
Okay, what is your message to, as we look to reauthorize this, what is your message to Congress? As well as Americans that might still be looking. As you said, you are one of the skeptics in the beginning, but you've been convinced now. So what have you learned, and what is your message to Congress?
I think it's the biggest form of soft power that we can export around the world, to go into these countries, help them create their economy. And I think you'll see a decrease in migration around the world. As you heard the ambassador from Guatemala, if we have that kind of economic base in that country, $5,000 to $7,000 for a person in a Latin American country, they will stay home. They won't come here and risk everything. And I think that's the biggest benefit we can do to help them build those economies. I had one of the ambassadors, he was from Honduras, and he saw my wife's story, my wife and I's story, and he goes, "You guys have lived the American dream." He goes, "That's what I want in my country." I said, "No, you don't." He goes, "What do you mean?" I says, "You want the Honduran dream. You want to build an economic base so your young people can build a Honduran dream." And he started crying. He got wet eyes, and he says, "That's what I want." I said, "Well, let's partner up with the DFC. If we can make those kind of impacts around the world, it'll be a safer place."
Thank you very much for
Sure.
talking with me. Thank you.